You have any idea how embarrassing it is?
Scotty,
Hey.
if you gotta choose between any kind of powers, say elemental powers, what would you pick?
I would probably still be like Aquaman and fire. That'd be cool.
You don't get to have two.
Because
You don't get to be like, I want water and fire and be immortal to everything.
steam hurts like a motherfucker.
So you want the powers of steam. There you go. It's much like our protagonist in Infamous Second Son, who has the powers of smoke, which apparently smoke does a lot more than I thought it did. Like, apparently smoke can also, explode stuff. Never would have imagined that. Kind of thought smoke was just kind of a really thick air. I thought you can maybe make enemies choke, which you could also do in this game. But anyways, where are my matters? This is the Bloody Screen Podcast. This is our review for Infamous Second Son. I am Brendan. That's Scotty.
Hello.
And yes, I am the only one that played it because I'm the only one with a PS4, sadly enough. But honestly, I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I was about to give the big old, what does Brendan really think of this game? No, I gotta dick tease you a little bit. I gotta tell you what the game is about. You are, this little fucking hipster looking bastard. Honestly, Scott, I don't know have you seen what this main character looks like?
Some from like the trailers and stuff.
I want to fight that guy in real life. Let me describe to you what he looks like, Scott. He has a beanie on the entire time. No fucking reason why. But not only, then he is wearing a plaid collared shirt. Underneath that, he's wearing a hoodie. And on top of the hoodie, he has a leather, vest jacket with pins on it. Of course, he's also doing the skinny jeans. He's just a guy. You see this fucker and he's just like, ugh. And this is where I have to give this game praise, because they give me this first look of him and be like, oh, fuck this guy. And then they make him charming as fuck where I can't help but be like, you know what? Kind of like Delsin. And I don't even know how the hell that was his birth name. Delsin. That's not even English. I don't know what the fuck that is. That's some Norwegian shit.
It's there, yeah.
Otherwise, he's actually kind of a likable guy. He's probably early 20s kind of guy, has going nowhere in life, and all of a sudden he finds out, I am a conduit, which is essentially a superhero. And, he gets powers just by touching a guy's hands. He's just like, oh, I got your smoke powers now, fool. And, no, he doesn't actually talk like that. That's more of my really bad lip reading of that. So he gets the smoke powers, and you know what I really appreciate about what this game does? Is when he gets his powers, not like any other time where a character finds out he has superpowers or whatever, and they just start acting like a bad motherfucker. He's kind of scared shitless. He's just, what the fuck is happening? I appreciate that, because I kind of feel like I would have that same thing if I was just teleporting everywhere, just, what, no, stop it. But he gets over it pretty quick, which I don't feel like would be pretty realistic there. Because honestly, it'd probably take me a good month to get used to having any kind of powers. And then after that month, I'd probably become a huge, horrible asshole. That's beside the point. That's not what Brandon would do with these powers. Anyways, the game, let me just put the story in the simplest manner possible. Have you ever seen X-Men? Scott?
Sorry, Mike was being stupid.
Oh, alright. Have you ever seen X-Men, Scott?
Yes, of course I have.
Yes, of course. Well, basically, there's a good storyline in the X-Men about humans versus mutants. That is exactly what this is. You got the humans, okay, let me put it this way. It's like Mr. Sinister, who likes to take the powers from mutants and, basically experiment on them. And that is exactly this entire story. You have this evil red-headed villain who looks very much like Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver?
Really? She does. She does. I mean, without the long curly hair, like if she got a butch cut, but it sounds like her, kind of has her mannerisms a little bit, like whenever she plays as a villain. I don't know. Have you ever seen her play as a villain?
Yeah, I have actually.
Yeah, a perfect example. Her character in the movie Paul is essentially what she's like in this game. And it's not her voice acting, I do know that. But yes, the character seems like it's kind of like, basically her. And she has her rock abilities and all that, and eventually they actually flesh out her character to be a little bit more interesting. But essentially, she is the only antagonist in this whole game, which was a little disappointing, because the previous Infamous games had you fighting many villains. Like, the first one, I should say, has you fighting, like, a good handful of, like, superpowered beings, and you take them out, and, you're like, I'm badass, motherfuckers. So, yeah, it was kind of disappointing that you only have one main villain, and the rest of the guys are just these palette swap, enemies that are all wearing yellow that are called the DUP, or the dupes, as they like to call them throughout the game, who have also gained rock powers because they didn't want to give them just no powers at all or whatever. And Delsum, you were just liberating the city of Seattle. And, the story is compelling enough for you to continue going. The characters are what really sells it, because otherwise the premise itself is pretty lame. He meets up with other, heroes that are not heroes, I should say, conduits, because they're just really a bunch of punk-ass people. You got an ex-heroin addict and some really nerdy kid. Yeah, you get them, you get their powers. Let me just run down the powers right now, Scott, and you tell me how you would think that... when you first hear about these powers, you think they're lame as shit. First, of course, the smoke powers.
Yeah.
Then you get neon powers, from, like, the neon Bud Light signs and stuff.
So, do you basically just turn into a big party boy, just like, rave all the time?
Yes and no. You get, I guess I want to call them TV powers, because you can just, that one's the hardest one to explain because some absorb the power of television somehow, or a computer. I don't really know which one it is. He just looks at a screen and goes, and absorbs their powers.
So he basically becomes Goku?
Sort of, except for, he doesn't actually change at all. And then, of course, you get the Kong powers, which is probably the most one that would make sense that you would actually want to have. Honestly, they actually make the powers all useful and really cool. And, like, with the neon powers that I mentioned, were probably one of my favorites because you get to play two different versions of Delsum. You can either pick good Delsum, and that's the one I picked. Delsum, basically, you don't kill anybody, you just knock enemies out, and you save humanity. You're a good guy, that's how you get the good ending. Or you could be complete asshole Delsum, where you are, you murder people. And I have to say, I've seen some of asshole Delsum. It's kind of cool what you do when you execute some of the enemies, where you just, you hold their head and you just do your whatever power Smoke has, and you kill them, and it looks really badass. But, I don't know. I never played all the way through it. I will eventually go back and replay it, but I just beat it. Don't really have any inclination to replay the game immediately after. But otherwise, you get two different endings, and the only thing that really changes between that, besides some of the cutscenes and what your decision, the city will react to you differently, and also in the ending, the whole story will be, of course, completely different. But for the most part, I saw in the beginning, you get a choice between A and B, and I've seen both choices. They're not different at all. And that kind of pissed me off a little bit. I was hoping for them, if you're going to have something so black and white between good and evil, you got to make them a little bit more different, I guess you could say. You got to really differentiate between the two. You got to be like, this is evil, you are a horrible human being, and we're going to make you do some shitty shit. Or, you're a good person, and everybody loves you. Congratulations! Yay! So, yeah. Anyways, that. Yeah. Moving on from there, gameplay, it's how do I put this? This is probably one of the best open world city games in a while. I mean, like, GTA was really good, but, ones with powers, if I could put it that way. Basically, if you run off the list, Prototype, other Infamouses, Crackdown, what's another one that you get powers open world? I got those three. And, Spider-Man, really.
Spider-Man. Like every superhero game ever.
Yeah, basically. Okay, you take all those where they have an open world in a city. This is the best one I've ever seen done. Because it may, you don't take fall damage, which is nice, and honestly, you can escape from the enemies pretty quickly, so you're not being chased down by the DUP a lot. Defeating the DUP at first is a challenge, because you're not really, that powerful. You only have so many powers, and they can kick your ass pretty well. About a third through the game, you have gained all the powers you need to take those fuckers out, Scott.
Yeah.
And it is awesome. The game becomes so much fun. It's enough to keep a challenge where you can't just sit there and be like, I am a god, bow before thee. But enough where you don't have to sit there like, oh shit, time to run away again. Run. Wait. Okay, I'm going back in the fight. Hit 2 guys. Ah shit, gotta run away. It's not extremely challenging either. I found myself doing literally everything in this game, Scott. Now, the side missions are pretty lame. They're basically the same things, like, oh, go find this, agent guy, free this section, shoot down these things. It's the same shit. They don't really have, like, any different kinds of side missions. The main story missions differentiate enough to where you actually can have a fun time with it.
Yeah.
I really just had a blast just running around through the world, honestly, with all the... Because when you have these powers, you don't have them all at once, Scott. You don't, you're not just like, oh, I can be neon now, smoke, and, mix the neon and smoke, which they kind of missed out on an opportunity. Because mixing, like, all the powers in one would be kind of cool. But basically what you have to do is, say if you have smoke powers, you run across the neon sign, you decide, hey, I want some neon powers. You absorb them, and now you have the neon abilities. And you have this whole web of upgrades that you get by collecting blue shards. It's a really good, in-depth game. Voice quality, everyone has a great voice acting. Actually, they have a couple moments where Delsum really shows some fucking heart in his soul, and you really can get a feel for this character when, certain events happen, and you're just like, man, you make me want to choose some bad decisions here because your character is angry, but I have to be the good guy because there's no gray area in this game, and that's, a little disappointing that they don't have more complex decisions. There's no Walking Dead decisions here where you're like, oh, it's either fuck A or fuck B. Shit.
Or fuck C because, yeah.
Because it's a Walking Dead and everything fucking sucks here. Yeah. And, there really isn't much score to this. This game, however, looks beautiful. This is probably one of the best looking games you get on the PS4 as the moment. I mean, the city looks alive. When it rains, you see random puddles, you see the city feels alive, too. Like, you walk around, characters aren't just doing the same fucking thing where, you see the guy walk around the block and that's all he's programmed to do. Just walk around the block. Like, they really feel like something's going on in this city. You have people talking, having whole conversations about what you're doing. You can stop and watch goddamn TV, just watch the news events about what you've done. And... it's really cool, those people, which, it's cool, but it's kind of like, how do they not recognize you? Is random people recognize you if you're being good or evil. Honestly, people just recognize you from just being infamous. And they'll start, whip out their phones, taking pictures of you. That's not a new thing, and that's been done in other games, but it's kind of cool. My whole thing is, if a random civilian could notice me and be like, yeah, go, man, you're awesome. Right. How come the DUP doesn't recognize me when I'm not using my powers? If I just walk past them, they're like, you're cool, dude. Only if I do my smoke abilities, they're like, oh shit, it's some freak! Kill it! With fire! It's a really great thing. They actually I have to say one thing in the story towards the end, they kind of put Delsum's whole, goal up on its head and say, yeah, not so great now, is it now, buddy? And I have to say he didn't really have a good rebuttal to it. When the main villain says, no, this is why I'm doing this, and he just kind of like, shut up, you're stupid!
You're stupid, Brandon.
That's kind of his whole rebuttal, and that kind of bugged me. But overall, this is probably a blast. This is one of the most fun games I had in a while, Scott. I mean, this whole year, I don't know about for you, but this whole year has kind of been a year of meh so far.
Sorta.
I haven't had any game to blow me out of the water. I haven't had any of that, I've just been playing games and yeah, alright, that's fine. No, okay, yeah, that one wasn't bad. This one was one that kept me going. This one, I wanted to play it. Anytime I was playing it, I just had I had my smile on. I was just like, yeah, I'm having fun. And, I can't even tell you how long the game was. It just, I played it till it was done. I want to say it was about maybe a 12-hour game, depending on how much you do in it. Like, if you just did the story, 6 hours. But if you do all the fun shit on the side, all the side missions, liberating the city, so that way you don't have anybody giving you shit afterwards, honestly, it makes the game a little bit easier if you eliminate all the DUP in the area and you just like, fuck you guys! Now I can do whatever I want. I can use my powers. It's very easily to 100% this game, honestly. I 66%ed it after completing the story mission. Overall, that is fantastic. I love the original game. It came with this wonderful thing, though, Scotty, where it was called Cole's Legacy. And a lot of people were asking me, a lot of people we know asked me, Brandon, all right, so you got Cole's Legacy for free, right? I was like, oh, yeah, I was kind of excited to try it out. And they're throughout the game, and you get you find these little, yellow explanation points, and they're just like, hey, Brandon, do this.
Yeah.
So I go up to it, and I'm just like, all right, what is this? So, I do a couple of these missions, and I'm like, all right, maybe they're just setting up for this big reveal, because, come on, they're trying to explain what happened after, spoiler alert, Cole apparently died. And I'm going to admit to you people, I didn't know that the main character from the first 2 games has been dead, because I didn't play the second game. And I was just like, oh.
You just did play the second game, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No, this is the 3rd game.
Oh.
See, they have Infamous 1, 2, and then Second Son. I played 1, skipped 2, and went to that Second Son. So whatever happened in 2, no idea. Honestly, you don't really get too lost in it because this really isn't called Infamous 3. Game industry and Hollywood's kind of getting up their own ass with not just calling stuff 2 or 3 anymore. They're just like, no, we're just going to have subtitle underneath whatever. But yeah, so this is technically 3. I'm not gonna lie. But apparently he's dead. And you don't even get to see, and this is kind of what bugs me. You don't even get to see the characters from Cole's the right-hand guys in the first couple games. You don't even get to see them. You just get to see a picture of them talking to you over the phone, telling you what's happening, and then one guy's like, oh shit! Apparently some guys are reporting he's trying to get you to hide shit for him or help about destroy DUP in certain areas. And it's just kind of boring fucking side missions. I'm like, this is not DLC. This is not extra content. This is some bullshit shovelware that you made me type in a code for. You might as well just gave it to me. Or better yet, just not do it at all because it didn't explain shit. So I don't really understand what the hell they were doing with that or why it's even in there or why it was such a big deal. Because so many people were like, oh, you're going to see what happens to Cole after Infamous 2. I was like, apparently not. No, you don't. I hate to say it, people, you don't get to see what happens to him after Infamous 2. They do not answer that question. So, sorry. For people who are excited to see what that, we know someone who was asking me about it because he's a huge fan of the games. He's like, oh, was Cole's Legacy good? I had to break his heart right there. But no, dude, it was a waste of my time. I had more fun just exploring the world than I did doing that fucking side mission.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I couldn't get enough of this game. And I have to emphasize that enough. Honestly, I hate to say it, and people might, people are going to disagree with me, and they may agree with me. This is a reason to get the console now. There's been people, a lot of people have been, well, there's no real good reason to get PS4 right now. I mean, they don't really have anything. I mean, if I'm not into Killzone or Knack, why do I want a PS4? Second Son. In my opinion, which is why you'd be listening to this review, Second Son is the reason to get a PS4 because it is that good. I had so much fun with this, and now it's time to get my rating, Scott. I'm giving it 5 fucking stars.
That's a first.
Yeah, I haven't given a 5-star since in a while. I can't remember the last game I gave 5 stars.
You probably didn't.
I remember giving Diablo 3 5. That was like the last one maybe I gave Batman Arkham Origins 5, but I don't give a hell of a lot of games 5 stars. But this one gets it because I couldn't put this game down. I'm so happy I bought it. I'm so happy I own this and it wasn't one of the GameFly games. So yes, 5 stars. This is a must-have. If you get a PS4, if you have one, and you don't have this game, which wouldn't make any sense to me because I'm gonna be honest with you, there really isn't a whole hell of a lot of exclusives on the PS4. There's 3. And this is the best one. This is a reason to own this console now. I mean, it uses everything. The touchpad works well. They even used the DualShock shit that never made any sense from the previous, PlayStation days where they have like, oh, turn your controller around for no fucking reason. It actually does it. It has a fun little mini game where you get a spray paint with your controller. I kind of like it. The touchpad is used well. The little stupid fucking, the Wii thing they got going on with the mic inside the controller. Or the speaker inside the controller. That's actually done pretty well because it just does stupid menial shit, to be honest with you. And anytime someone calls you, it comes through your controller instead of through your TV. And honestly, it's just a bunch of gimmicky shit, but it's awesome. I fucking adore this game. And I honestly, whenever I get some more downtime, I'm going to replay it through Evil Side. Or maybe just 100% it. I think I might 100% it, then go back through Evil, and then be done with it forever because there will be nothing else for me to do. So anyways, yes, that is great. Give us your opinions on Infamous Second Son if you have played it. We'd love to know. And please, I know I've said this before and someone actually did it for Noah, but I hate to say you put it in your own video review and I'm not going to be able to respond on that because I can't comment on YouTube. So what I would suggest doing is going to our Facebook page because that seems to be the most popular version of it, or email works as well. Bloody Screen Podcast, just find us on that. It's at gmail.com if you're looking for that. Bloody Screen Podcast at Gmail, or just find us on Facebook. We're the only Bloody Screen Podcast. Not hard to find. So, that is it. I want to know what you guys think about this game. Whether or not you agree or not, if I get, 5 stars is worthy. But, you know what? The hell with you. You don't like it? Review yourself. That is it. Goodbye.